The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends in that top right-hand corner of the screen, right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. And we try to do the same here on this show every single day. We thank Greenwood Chevy for their constant support at Running Point, and we try to follow their lead, go the extra mile for you. One of the ways we do that is player profiles. We shine a light on the athletes here on this show, and we're going to do the same thing today. We have one recorded that we're going to play for you guys from champion senior girls basketball player Kayla Haney, and you'll be able to hear from her a little bit later on. Great interview with her, just recorded it, a few minutes ago, so it's literally fresh out of the oven. Kayla Haney will be played here in a little bit, so we'll have that player profile taken care of for you. We're also going to, of course, recap last night's girls basketball action and then preview tonight's boys and a couple of girls basketball action for you there, as we always do on this show as well. So without further ado, I'm sounding a little bit French today. Without further ado, let's go into the scoreboard, which is always presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. This YSN scoreboard is a great tool for fans, whether you're at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts. You don't want to look away for too long, and the YSN scoreboard is a great way to get fast, live updated scores. We have a great team behind the scenes that makes sure that the scoreboard is up to date, so you don't have to wait until midnight for the final scores to come in. And it is brought to you and presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs, proudly presented by them. We thank them for letting us give you this wonderful tool. We'll go into the scoreboard from last night. Big one in the EOAC, United causing some chaos with a win over Columbiana, 53-43. The Eagles get the win. A big first quarter propelled United to this one, 20-5. They led after one quarter of play. Grace Knight and Addie Blazer had big games for the Eagles. No shocker there. They've been having a great season, a great career. I mean, those are the names for United that you've been hearing for years. Sam Lippian also had a really good game for the Eagles. I think she's having a breakout season where you're starting to see her get more and more confident as the year goes on. So United with the win. Very interesting now in the EOAC because Southern one loss, Columbiana one loss, United one loss, and they've all lost to each other. Southern lost to Columbiana, United lost to Southern, and then Columbiana lost to United. So, man, are we going to have a wild second half of EOAC play? Because you look at the rest of the league, and those three teams have been the front runners. They've been handling everybody else. So now you're looking at that race in the second half of the season, January and February. Those two teams are all going to play each other a second time. How's it going to pan out? And those second matchups are going to be hugely important. What adjustments are going to be made? And you'll look at the three matchups, and I want to kind of talk about them and try to dig into who's going to be the favorite coming out of that second half of the season. And first, you look at Columbiana versus Southern, and I think that was the most lopsided one of the three, where Columbiana just dominated the game quite frankly. They didn't let anybody outside of Ashley Schroed score. There was just nothing to be had outside of her in the offense. It was a bad shooting night for Southern. They couldn't get stuff to fall. So you look at that, and then you look at Columbiana's defense, and you say, well, maybe that gives them the edge a little bit. But then you look at United, who had a really tough time stopping Southern from scoring because United is a zone basketball team on defense, and Southern ate it up. And that was a big key there. So what adjustments are made on United's side against Southern? And then in this game for Columbiana, I think this is probably the one that is the biggest, like, toss up, because really it's just the bad first quarter, the bad start. You can't start a game in the league against a good team 20-5 and expect to claw your way back into it. I mean, they played the rest of the game, won the rest of the game by 5 after the first quarter of play, because they were down by 15 after one quarter. So they won the second, third, and fourth quarter combined, but it was just a really bad start. They didn't come ready to go. And I think that's going to be, the easiest thing to adjust out of all three of the losses that we see is just, hey, show up ready to go. Have a better start. If we have a better start, Columbiana might win that game if they just, even if that first quarter is marginally better, right? Even if it's a 8-point, United wins at 20-12, they win the game because they won the rest of the. Well, they won the rest of the game by 5, so it's a 3-point game. They'd have to actually do the math. They'd have to trail United by what, 5 at the end of the first quarter for the rest of the game to be tied. But you get what I'm saying. If you're not down by 15 after 1, and you're not constantly trying to just scoop yourself out of that hole, then maybe you win this game. So big start for United. And it's a big win for the Eagles because now everyone's hopes of an EOAC championship are alive. There's also, the real possibility of some absolute chaos where we see the same thing happen the second time around, where everyone beats each other, and you get a 3-way tie, and that's chaotic. And that's what United wanted last night. They're playing the role of the Joker, or the agents of chaos, and 53-43 win. Impressive by United to go on the road too. So the next time the United plays Columbiana, it'll be in Hanoverton. So a big one for the Eagles there. Edison was able to get the win last night over New Cornerstown, 45-30, the final score there. Big one for the Wildcats, and they needed to win. They were dropping a couple in a row in the last week or so. Lakeview, this was a thriller down the stretch. They get their first ever win over South Range as members of the NE8, and that's years of frustration for the Bulldogs let out. They got close last year, very close last year to beating the Raiders. Raiders were able to pull it out. This year, though, Lakeview got the big win, and it was a lot of players off the bench that came out and with big buckets. Max Stowe was the leader of the team, 10 points, the only player for either team that was in double figures. But then, you have let's go into the story. Let's get these names right, because I don't want to pull them out of the top of my head and get them wrong. You had Sophie Irwin come off the bench and get a big bucket when the game was tied at 31 in the fourth quarter to give Lakeview the lead and really put Lakeview ahead for good. And then you had McKenna Warner hit a couple of free throws to give Lakeview that 4-point lead late in the game that there was enough to win. You don't hit those free throws. South Range has 20 seconds to tie up the game at 34. But Warner comes in, hits a couple of free throws, makes it a 4-point game with 30 seconds left, solidifies the fate. So, you had a lot of players play extremely clutch performances from Lakeview. Another big factor in this game, and something that I'm seeing from Lakeview a lot this year in their successes, they're 3-6. They are really good at switching up defenses on the fly, which makes them really hard to game plan against, because they can go into a 2-3, they can morph it right into a 1-3-1 if they have to, and they're not avoiding playing man defense at all. So they will really switch up offenses on the fly, trying to keep you as off balance as possible. And for a team like South Range, who right now is just dealing with inconsistencies as a whole on offense, they'll have a stretch where they'll be really good. They'll hit shots. They had a stretch in this game. They hit back-to-back threes to take a 2-point lead with 20 seconds left in the third quarter. So they have these stretches where they're doing really good, but the inconsistencies pop up. So when you have a team like that also has to deal with constantly shifting defensive styles, 2-3 zone, 1-3-1 zone, man-to-man defense, and you have to constantly adjust to what the other team is doing on defense. That's a bad formula. That's a bad formula, and it's a great defensive game plan from Coach Haney down there, Kevin Haney at Lakeview. So I was really impressed. I know Lakeview probably circled this game a couple of times in the offseason because, like I said, they were so close to beating South Range last year, fell at the end. This year they get close again, and they actually come out with the victory. The first time they've ever beaten the Raiders as part of the NE8 conference. South Range had big games from Devin Sarwar and Manny Dato. They both hit those back-to-back threes to give them that lead to in the third quarter. You saw CC Foster hit a couple of threes. So I think the good thing for South Range going forward and Coach Fishel is when you're an inconsistent team, it doesn't mean that you're consistently not good, right? It means you're finding stretches where you're doing things the right way, finding success. You just can't sustain it. So although no one likes to lose, at least you can watch the film for Jeff Fishel. And a lot of these games, some of them were, Boardman, handled them pretty well. But a lot of these games that they're losing, it's like, oh man, they have a really good quarter here. They're playing really good. And then it's just a little bit of a mental lapse in, for a couple of minutes that leads to a couple of buckets. In this game too, you took a lead and then he gave up a bucket in 20 seconds and it's tied at the end of 3 instead of having the lead going into the fourth quarter. So little things like that where you're getting a lot of stops, but are you getting the stops when you need them most? The inconsistencies there for South Range, which aren't good. It's not a good thing. It's not like something that you're like, yeah, we're inconsistent, but glass half full for the Raiders. At least it's not just you're going out there and you're just not good. Like you're just not doing anything right. You can't find a way to play well on offense. It's just the consistency thing, and that can be fixed through the stretch of a season. You have a game here and there that gives your girls a lot of confidence. Maybe they have a game where they shoot really well. I thought it was the Struthers game that was going to do it. 54-40, they get the win over Struthers. I thought that was going to give them a lot of momentum heading forward. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more work. But Jeff Fishel is a great coach. Anyone that says otherwise can fight me about it. I'll meet you outside in the parking lot if you want to say that Jeff Fishel isn't a great basketball coach, because I will die on that hill. And he's just got to find a way to get these girls to one, be confident, find results, and to say, hey, we're doing good things. And then two, find a way to just be that consistent team, because their defense will keep them in games. I'm talking the offensive side. Their defense will keep them in games. They allowed 36 points last night. They haven't allowed more than 50 other than once. So you look at it and it's like your defense will keep you in the basketball games. They will. They're a really good defensive team. Find the consistency on offense to score enough. You don't have to be a blowout offense. You don't have to be scoring 60, 70 points per game. If you live in the 40s, then you can win a lot of games at South Range with the defense that they play. So they just have to find a way to just be a little bit more consistent and, bump their average up about 10 points. Because right now they're sitting in that, they can score, in the high 20s, low 30s most nights. So get that up to the high 30s, low 40s, mid 40s range. And with their defense, they're going to be winning a lot more games for South Range. Plenty of time. They have the players. They have the tools. So, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish for the Raiders. And they're still 1-2 in the conference. They have plenty of time to make a run in the conference and, make some noise in that NE8. And then it's all about the tournament too, right? So striding in the right time, striding into February, they're going to be well tested. I think if Jeff Fishel can find a way to get like 9 wins before tournament time and just, be in that little, barely under 500 kind of team with the schedule they have, find a way to stride before February, South Range will be dangerous because they're playing a lot of big teams that other Division III teams, especially in the district, most aren't playing. So that'll be a benefit if South Range can right the ship. But we'll see what they can do going forward. They're at Hubbard on Thursday. Lakeview, they are also on the road. They go to Poland. Can they pull off two big upsets in two games? Those are two teams that they've never beaten in conference play, Lakeview and South Range in Poland. So they'll go on the road again Thursday to try to pull off the big win over the Bulldogs. We go to the next game. Beaver Local falls to Indian Creek 72-32. Big one there for the Redskins. Western Reserve wins the Battle of the Blue Devils 63-24. The final score there. Quincy Miller with a big game for Western Reserve. You can find a post-game interview with her and Coach Steve Miller on the ysnlive.com story for this game, and also the YSN YouTube page. Make sure to check that out and all the other post-game interviews we have from last night. I was at Crestview last night. They really did a good job controlling the tempo with Newton Falls. Newton Falls is a team that loves to slow the game down. They are patient on offense. Really, I was talking about it on the broadcast. It was funny because the first quarter, score-wise, Crestview won, and they were still winning the first quarter. But I felt like in the first quarter, Newton Falls offense, they weren't turning the ball over too much. They were getting shots up. They weren't hitting shots. So they could have been a closer first quarter. They were getting good looks. In the second quarter, some adjustments were made. Some defensive things were stepped up just a little bit. And all of a sudden, Crestview started to force turnover. And you could tell in the body language it was starting to get to this Newton Falls team mentally, and it was over at that point. I mean, if it wasn't over after the first quarter, because the score was still lopsided. So Crestview was hitting, little layups inside, and really Newton Falls had no answer on defense for LaFrane Gaskins. But Newton Falls was getting shots up. So if they would have hit those shots, they probably could have stayed in striking distance. But then in the second quarter, in the third quarter, when Crestview really put up that defensive ball pressure, it was just turnover city for Newton Falls, and they couldn't get even shots up for the rest of the game. So Crestview rolls in this one. They have a couple of big tests on the horizon, though, because they go outside of conference on Thursday, where they host Salem, who I know record-wise isn't having a great season. But you look at the teams they've played, and you look at how good they've played some of those teams, especially in moments of the game. They were down by 1 1/2 to West Branch. They were very competitive for 3 quarters against Canfield. That's a team that can be dangerous for this Crestview team that has kind of been coasting for a little bit. Can they put it back into gear and get into a battle? That's going to be fun to watch. And then, after Salem, they go into Christmas break, and the Thursday after Christmas, they play Champion. And that's going to be for the first spot in the league. So two really big challenges back to back. And I'm sure Coach Blatch is happy that they get to reset after Salem a little bit, have the Christmas break, come back, have a couple practices before that big one against the Flashes. That's a well-timed scheduling for a Champion right there on the Thursday after Christmas. But it will be on the road, which will make it even tougher. Poland goes to Niles. They stay undefeated in the NE8 with a 46-28 victory over Niles. Big win there for Poland. Mary Brandt does what Mary Brandt always does, gets into double figures. They also had a big day from Leanna Bocheri, who had her first game, I believe, this year in double figures as well. LeBray gets the win over Brookfield, closer than a lot of people thought, though. 46-42. Brookfield puts up a heck of a fight, but at the end of the day, LeBray still gets the win over the Warriors. Springfield goes to Sebring and controls the Trojans 57-9, the final score there. Tigers get the win. You have Wyndham. They beat Matthews 60-35. Western Reserve, Middle Ridge stays undefeated. They are 8-0. They beat Lowville 63-44. Ava Hewlett with 1 rebound shy of a double-double, 14 points, 9 rebounds. They had Sullivan Sandy in double figures with 12. They had Lily Marilillo in double figures with 11. So once again, another Middle Ridge game with 3 players in double figures. And it's someone different every game. So Middle Ridge rolling. It sets up a huge one on Thursday. Middle Ridge hosting Springfield. And, the winner's going to have a big driver's seat, for the MVAC Scarlet tier. So You're looking forward to that one. It will be on ysnlive.com on Thursday. Latonia and Valley Christian do a battle, and Valley gets their first win of the year, 13-12 over the Bears. Champion goes to Camel and gets the big victory, 54-20, the final score there for the Flashes. Wellsville, Nipsey's Palestine, 35-34, final score there. Wellsville picks up another win. JFK falls to Canton Central Catholic by the final score of 48-43. Double overtime in Hubbard as they get the win, 41-38 over Struthers. A big game there for the Eagles. They are now over 500 at a 4-3 record for Hubbard. We have Southern getting the win over Lisbon, a monumental night for Ashley Schroeds. She not only becomes the program's leading scorer in career points, also basketball, whether you're talking boys or girls leading scorer, both sides, Ashley Schroeds is now your leader. And she also became the program leader in career assists. The scoring record dated back to 1981, believe it or not, with 1748 was the record. Talk about having a big stat total back before there was even a three-point line. Basketball was vastly different in 1981. So to see that record obviously stand for as long as it did, pretty impressive. But Ashley Schroeds gets that mark, and honestly, with over 700 and over 1,750 now points, she had 25 last night, needed 4, so I think she broke the record. She has a chance. You're looking at it. She's under 300 points away from getting to 2,000. And we haven't seen a 2,000 point score at YSN since I don't think Jackie Gristow got to 2,000. So I think it's Daishan Harris, I believe, is the last player in the YSN family to get to 2,000 career points on the girls' side. We also know that Crestview has their scoring record with Chelsea Boker over the 2,000s, but it is not an easy feat to get to. Excuse me, I thought I was about to sneeze. To get to 2,000 career points, and Ashley Schroeds on her way, possibly, to be getting that less than 300 points away from that. Youngstown East, they got the win over Maple Heights on the road. That final score is 38-10. And then last but not least, East Liverpool, they fall to Oakland, 56-41, the final score there. So that does it for your scoreboard for the night last night. Some big wins, some big conference shakeups, and also some big matchups set up by the scores from last night. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the player profile from champion senior Kayla Haney. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online.
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
And on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
And welcome back to a Tuesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And we have the second half of our show on board. And we'll start with a player profile that we just recorded, fresh out of the oven, from champion senior girls basketball player Kayla Haney, the three-point shooter extraordinaire for the Flashes. One of the first things she says in this interview is, 3 points are my specialty. And that's exactly what you know about Kayla Haney. If you watch champion basketball, she can definitely go from downtown at any point, anytime, and hits more than not. So here's Kayla Haney, champion senior, and enjoy this player profile. Hartwig with you, and we have a champion girls basketball player profile. I am joined by senior Kayla Haney. Kayla, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. It is your senior season. What's it like kind of going into this year, knowing that it's the last time you're doing everything and just trying to take everything in and trying to, live it up to the fullest?
Yeah, it's a bittersweet feeling. I mean, I've been in this program forever. I've grown up in it. So just knowing that I have to leave it soon, it's really hard for me.
This champion girls basketball team last season had to deal with a lot of adversity. You had some injuries early. There was a lot of time when it was you and Brooke, the only players that were out there that were legitimate starting varsity players that were expected to be out there. You come into this year, everyone's back, everyone's healthy. What was it like coming into this year knowing that this was the champion that you expected even last year?
Yeah, last year was really hard for us, but we learned a lot from it. I think especially our guards, we've learned how to handle pressure very well. So just bringing that into this season, I think it really helps us. And just having that, last season under our belt and just knowing that we can improve from that, it's really good.
What did going through last year teach you going into this year? I mean, obviously, like we said, a lot of adversity last year, but you come out this year, you're undefeated in the MVAC, you only have one loss overall. What did last year teach you about this year?
Yeah, I think just knowing that last year didn't go how we wanted, it really gave us the motivation this year to end it how we want and just try to win as much as we can.
And you've gotten off to a really good start. You're shooting the ball so well. What's been working so well for you personally so far this season?
Yeah, I my specialty is threes, so I try as much as I can to shoot threes, but I also look for my teammates and see if they're open so I can get my assists up too.
Your specialties are threes. You are money from downtown. Is there any feeling better than knocking down a big three?
Oh no. No. The fans, just listening to them, it's great.
You know, you have a big one coming up pretty soon after Christmas. You know, you're going to go and play Crestview for the first time this season. And since both teams won yesterday, both teams are going to be undefeated in the league going into that game. What do you think that game's going to mean to you guys and having a chance to compete for the MVAC?
It's going to be huge. Everyone keeps talking about this game. I mean, especially because it's home, so hopefully we'll have a lot of people there. But it's just a real test for us.
A lot of people, you guys always get a lot of people. Champion student section never disappoints. What's it like to have the support of the student body and to have, you know, classmates that show up for you guys and prove that they support both sides of basketball, boys and girls?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I run the student section page, so I try as much as I can to have like boys support girls and then girls support boys. So, I mean, just having champion behind us, it's a really great feeling.
All right, so we're talking to the girl that runs the student section page. What's that responsibility like for you to be able to be in charge of that?
Yeah, I mean, I like it because I get to like make all the posts, I make the themes. So, it's just really important to just make sure everyone's supporting everyone.
What's your favorite theme? Like if you had to pick one that you get the most hyped out for a student section, what's your favorite theme?
I don't know. I'd have to say neon or construction. I just feel like it's so bright and everyone has something, so it's always filled.
Now you get to be a part of a student section for the sports you don't play. What's your favorite sport to be a part of the student section for?
I'd say boys basketball, just because with football, I love watching football games, but I don't really get it. But boys basketball, I can get into it.
What's going on down there? Plus, you don't have to deal with the cold weather. You know, you're in a
Oh yeah, for
nice hot
sure.
gym. It's okay. It's all good. The thing we always talk to champion athletes about are the standard of success at the school, especially on the girls' side of the programs. You know, softball, golf, soccer, girls' basketball. You look at the history of all those sports, and they've just been the standard of greatness. What's it like to be a part of that and to be growing up in that, and now to be a varsity member of another successful team in the school?
Yeah, it's a great feeling just to know that we are very successful in our girls' sports and also our boys' sports are getting there. And I don't know, I think it's great that like growing up I got to see that and then I looked up to that and now I can fit that standard.
Growing into this program, did it ever give you any like pressure to be like, hey, I have to live up to this the standard that Champion Sports has provided, or was it never any pressure to come in as a freshman and to be a part of these sports programs?
I think there is pressure, but it's also exciting to feel that and know that that is my standard.
What is the like if you had to describe the Champion standard and the thing that makes Champion consistently be able to be successful in these sports, what would you kind of put your finger on to say that is define it?
I think it's just being the best you can be. I mean, just going out there, having fun, but also being the best you could be and just trying your best.
Let's talk about the senior class that you're a part of. Obviously, you're not the only senior on this Champion girls basketball team. You've been playing with these girls for so long. What's it like to have this group of friends, this group of teammates? You could even call them sisters at this point, to share this season with and to share this last hurrah with.
Yeah, me and Bella Meyer have been playing together forever. We had our dads coach us. We played upwards together, so we just grew up on the basketball court together. And then freshman year, we had Carly Easterday join us, which is really great because then we could give it into her. She could kick it out to us. So it's just a great group of girls.
When you look at some of the other players on this team that aren't seniors that are going to be part of the leadership committee next year and part of the team, part of the players that want to lead again next year, who are some players that stick out to you that you think, okay, when we graduate, this program's going to be in really good hands because they're already showing tools of leadership?
We have great juniors. We have Addie Warzela, which is our point guard. She's really great at handling the ball. And then we have Kennedy Caldwell, who came out for basketball again this year. She's really good at shooting, so she'll take over that. And then Riley Doan, she's a good post player, and Sam Struck, who also just joined us this year. She's really fast and can move really fast.
I want to talk about some of those new players that just joined you this year because you'll watch them play, and I've had a chance to broadcast you guys live this year, and you go, can't believe this is their first year coming out for the team. I mean, Kennedy Caldwell is averaging double figures, and Sam Strock was one of the players that led you last week in a couple of games. What do you see from these players that are coming out for basketball and immediately just finding success on the floor?
Yeah, at the beginning it was like new to get used to because we weren't playing with them, but now that the season started and we're rolling, it's really great to just connect with them and see how they play and how we connect together.
I know senior night is a long way away, but you know yourself better than anybody. You know how you're going to respond to senior night. And what do you think are going to be some of the emotions that are going to go through your head when senior night comes up?
We've actually talked about senior night a lot just because, I mean, we've been in the program forever and it's going to be super hard for us. I mean, all the emotions will be flowing. It's going to be like one of our last games, so it's going to be emotional.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Out of the three seniors, who do you think is going to get the most emotional on senior night?
Bella Meyer.
Bella?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been playing together forever, so I think it will just be really hard.
You know, when you think of all the things you've accomplished already at Champion and the things you've been able to do, whether it be the golf, we know you've taken that program under your wing and it's grown so much since you started it. And, basketball, you've done a lot of great things. What are you most proud of when you graduate from Champion and you look back on your memories with the school?
I think I'm just most proud of that we lived up to the standard. We tried our best. So it's always good to look back on and see that we did good and we're just keep growing.
You can't hold up that standard without a great coach, and Michael Cole definitely fits that dynamic. Talk about Michael Cole. What's it like to be under him and this coaching staff, and how much they've helped you grow your game of basketball?
Yeah, I've been around with Coach Cole forever. I mean, when he first was the coach, I was the water girl. So just knowing him for a while, it builds a special relationship, and he just gives us so much freedom because he knows that we have played for him for 4 years.
We always talk about saying goodbye to your teammates and saying goodbye to the players that you've played with for so long, but what's it going to be like to not be coached by Coach Cole anymore? I mean, to have to say goodbye to that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Me and Coach Cole have built a special relationship, especially because he's known my family forever too. And I was close with his daughter when I was the water girl. He always talks about how we would go over and eat his daughter's puffs. So it's just a good relationship.
Let's talk about off the court and some of the things that you do to really let yourself live life a little bit. The basketball is great, the sports you do are great, but you need a mental break every now and then. What are some things you do outside of sports that they give you that mental break?
I spend a lot of my free time volunteering. So I'm in all of our school groups, or I'm in my church youth ministry, and then I also just like to spend time with my friends.
When you take time to volunteer, whether you're doing it for the community or you're doing it for the church, whatever it may be, what does that do for your mental health and your just ability to stay focused through sports? I mean, how do you translate what that does for you into the court?
Yeah, through volunteering, I've saw that the littlest things can make a difference. Like you could make someone's day just from smiling at them. So just knowing through sports, just a little appreciation could make a big difference.
Volunteering is all about random acts of kindness. So I'm going to ask you, what is the best random act of kindness that someone has done for you, do you think?
I I'd say just giving me a hug. Like, I have just these random people come up at church and give me hugs and tell me how they're following me through sports, and it's just great to see.
Do you think a nice, good hug is like the best way to make your day? Is that like the best thing a person can do to lift your spirits up?
100%.
Okay, so when you talk about things that you've done for other people, what do you think is the best random act of kindness that you can do? Like, what are some things that you love to do for people to lift them up?
Yeah, I think just giving like random compliments, it's nice. Or just holding the door. I mean, for my church, we also like we do a lot for the senior citizens. So we'll like deliver pumpkins, or we had a like Christmas dinner, and we delivered dinners to them. So just the little things can make a big difference.
How much does the faith that you bring into your athletics help you on the court?
Yeah, it really does help me. I mean, just seeing like everyone, if you just talk to someone, if they're down, just get them up and just see that a little difference can make a big.
Let's talk about your future outside of high school, what your plans are after graduation. We don't want to see you go, but it's the reality of high school. You have to say goodbye after 4 years. What are your plans after you graduate from Champion?
I am undecided on my college, but I am planning to go into exercise science for physical therapy. I'm also looking at John Carroll for golf, so I'm kind of all over the place.
So, you're looking at golfing at the next level. Maybe you're looking at, the major that you have locked down, but you're undecided on the college. What kind of things go into that decision? Like, what kind of things are you still looking for? What kind of things weigh that decision? What is the best fit for you as far as things you want to see in a college to make that decision?
Yeah, I've been visiting a lot, and I've also like watched a lot of videos on the colleges if they're far away, just so that I can know. But just seeing like a volunteering college, that really stands out to me, or just like seeing that they have like a good community feel.
Do you want to travel or do you want to stay closer to home? I mean, if you could pick either one, would you want to kind of leave the nest a little bit or do you want to stay close to your family?
If possible, I would like to stay close. I don't know if it will be possible, but I would like to stay close.
So you say you're going to go into a career with exercise science and physical therapy. What drew you to that career path? What makes you passionate about wanting to pursue a career in that?
My mom's a nurse, so I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, and physical therapy just deals with a lot of athletes, and I want to help fellow athletes.
Physical therapists have to deal with a lot of athletes that are dealing with, adversity, whether it be physical injuries. There's also a lot of, now mental health adversity that you have to go through. Maybe not the physical therapist, but other avenues of help in athletes that way. What is the biggest adversity that you think you've faced throughout your career at Champion? And then second part of that question is how did you get through it?
I'd say my concussion from last year. I got a concussion against Bristol, and I had to miss a few games, and it really brought me down. But my family and my friends were all there for me, knowing like when I get back, they'll be there to support me 100%.
And now let's go into your family. We've talked about it a couple of times, but I want to give you the chance to shout out your family and to talk about what makes your family so unique to you and what makes it so special to you that you have the family that you have.
Yeah, I love my family. They're always there for me. They always support me 100%. They're always at my games, and they're always supporting me.
All right, Caleb, before we let you go, we do this for all of our player profiles. We want to give you the chance to shine a light on the people in your life, the people that support you, the people that you think deserve a shout out at the end of this interview. So I'm going to give you the time to do that and take as much time as you want to shine a big light on the people that mean the most to you.
I would like to thank my mom and dad, my whole family. They're always there to support me. My grandparents are always there. My friends, they're always there too. Bella Meyer, she's always supporting me on the court. And then also my coaches who are always believing in me.
All right, Kayla, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck the rest of this senior season. Off to a great start so far, indeed. And we can't wait to talk to you real soon.
Thank you for having me.
That was Kayla Haney from Champion joining myself earlier today. And what a great player profile for someone that really brought that champion girls golf program to life. We talked to her last year, and the growth of that program that she's had when she started. It was just kind of her and three other girls that were golfing, and then all of a sudden it became, enough for a varsity team last year when we interviewed her, and then this year obviously it got even bigger, and it's continuing to grow, and a lot of the credit for that should go to Kayla Haney, and she's done a really good job. She's looking to possibly golf in the future at the next level. She said maybe John Carroll, but that's not decided yet. So obviously we'll keep an eye on where she decides to go. We wish her the best of luck, and we thank her for the time. But what a great basketball player too. On the court, great player, great ball handler, great shooter, lockdown shooter. Like I said, the 3-point queen of champion that they can knock down a shot from just about anywhere on the floor. Champion's a dangerous team. They have Crestview coming up next Thursday. They have a game against St. Joe's Academy on Thursday at Howland this Thursday. Next Thursday is going to be home against Crestview. But this Thursday, they're part of that Tony Ross Invitational at Howland, where they'll play St. Joe's Academy, and then they'll play the second day of the tournament on Friday, depending on if they win or lose and who wins the other game between Howland and Warren Harding. So a couple of games in 2 days for champion before they take their Christmas break. And then they'll match up with Crestview the Thursday after Christmas. Should be a fun one. Winner takes first place alone in the MVAC for now, halfway through the season. We'll go into the scoreboard, back to the YSN scoreboard, brought to you and presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. And we'll flip from last night to tonight and preview the night that's coming up on boys basketball, a couple of girls games too. And here we go. From Tuesday, December 19th, we are 6 days away from Christmas, everybody. We'll start in the EOAC as Lisbon takes a trip to Salineville, to Southern for that one. Boardman travels to Cardinal Mooney tonight. That should be a fun one in Youngstown. Campbell goes to Crestview tonight. Crestview boys basketball has been playing in a couple of overtime thrillers. Will that continue in the Rebels' home tonight? Garrettsville Garfield playing at host to Champion tonight. We have East Palestine. They will travel to Wellsville. Girard goes to Salem. That'll be a good non-conference matchup for both teams. Heartland Christian goes to Badger. We have Austintown Fitch playing host to Hickory. Howland going to Youngstown East. Hubbard staying inside the NE8 going to Struthers. A big matchup in the MVAC grade tier. The two teams that were a part of a three-way tie for the conference last year, squaring off as LeBray goes to Newton Falls. JFK hosting a very good, very dominant Lutheran West team. Another test for the Eagles to prove their merit. Marlington is going to travel to Canfield. Niles will go to Poland. We have McDonald hosting Sebring. South Range goes to Lakeview. Southeast goes to Wyndham. We have Springfield going to Lowville. Weirton going to East Liverpool. Hoban playing host to Wilson Academy. We have Brookfield playing host to Liberty. Edison will host Trinity Christian. Valley Christian goes to Latonia. Waterloo will travel to Middle Ridge. Western Reserve goes to Jackson Milton. We have Maplewood going to Pymatuning Valley. Columbiana going to United. Beaver Local will travel on the road to Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, they'll go from there to Bel Air. Try to be the Fresh Prince. And then finally, Ursuline will travel to Massillon, Washington for a matchup with the Tigers there in Massillon. Don't forget, in Canfield, it is a part of a girls-boys doubleheader. So Canfield girls will play Marlington at 5, and then the boys will play after. We have Jefferson traveling to Edgewood, a big backyard rivalry in Ashtabula County for girls basketball. Grand Valley plays host to Kirtland tonight. We have Madison playing host to Conneaut, and then last but not least, Beaver Area will be playing Hopewell in girls basketball as well. Let's get to the spreadsheet and tell you who's going to be where and what games you're going to watch on the network tonight and who will be calling them. So we'll start with girls basketball. I will be in Canfield for the doubleheaders as Canfield will play Marlington in girls and boys basketball. So I'll be there for both of those matchups. So those ones are on lockdown. Girls basketball at Beaver will be handled by CJ Schroeds. Larry Jennings will be in Edgewood for Jefferson and Edgewood. And we will also have Tyler Hart's at the Grand Valley game. Geneva at Lakeside was supposed to be played today. It has been canceled due to weather. It'll be moved because obviously it's a league game. Conneaut Madison still happening as of now. Boys basketball, we have Rick Daly traveling to Southern with Lisbon. He'll be there for that. Noah Doty going to be in Cardinal Mooney for Boardman coming to town. We have Tony Perazio. He'll be at Crestview for Campbell at Crestview. The school, Garrettsville Garfield, will be taking care of their game against Champion. Gary Altizer will be in Wellsville as East Liverpool comes to town. Derek Rhodes will be in Salem for Girard versus Salem. We'll have Bill Shea at Badger for Heartland Christian at Badger. Michael Janaki going to be at Austintown Fitch as they welcome in Hickory. Noah Ricks is going to be at East. Bob Zanny and Matthew McConaughey going to be in Struthers for Hubbard against the Wildcats. We'll have Matt Marr and Jordan Barber at Newton Falls for their big matchup with LeBray. Dom O'Brien will be in JFK. That's going to be a 6:30-ish start, two-quarter JV before the varsity down there between Luther and West. We already said I will be at Canfield for the girls and boys games, so both those games will be covered. Matt Porter going to be in McDonald to cover his alma mater against Sebring. Sam Ballast and Jake Nicholas will be at Lakeview for South Range going to Cortland. Wyndham YouTube page will have Wyndham versus Southeast. Eric Hughes will be at Lowville for Springfield at Lowville. East Liverpool will be covered by Chris Sigler. And then Ty Bartel will be in Hoban as he'll cover them against Wilson Academy. And then we'll have one wrestling matchup tonight as well, as the South Range duels will be covered by Chris Colucci. So a lot on the network tonight. Boys basketball, a couple of girls basketball games, and of course, one wrestling match as well, our second wrestling broadcast of the year. So stay tuned for all of that. We'll be back tomorrow on Running Point. It's going to be Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. We'll have him. We'll have Scotty Mincher on as well. Our guest for Wrestling Wednesdays tomorrow is going to be Nick Bowser from Hubbard, the big boy, the heavyweight, coming to us and talking to us about his senior year. And we can't wait for that interview with Mr. Bowser tomorrow on Running Point 1 to 2. We'll be joining you. Me, Gary Altizer, Steve, Scotty Mincher, and Nick Bowser in Wrestling Wednesdays on Running Point. So make sure to tune into that. Tune into all the games tonight. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find them. And we'll see you then.